Still with me, everyone? I promise we're almost finished. We're going to show you something now called absolute cell addressing or absolute cell referencing. So when I copy an equation from one place to another, the normal actions of the spreadsheet use relative cell addressing to automatically update my equations. What I'm going to do is I want to calculate the tax collected from some of these car sales. So I'm going to have a cell here called tax collected, and I can make some of these cells wider so I can see them a little bit better. And in order to calculate our tax collected, I need to know the tax rate. So down here, I'm just going to have some informative cells, a label saying that the tax rate is going to be equal to 0.13. So I've entered my tax rate in this particular cell, and that happens to be cell A10. So I got to remember I'm using cell references when I make my calculations. Now the tax collected from selling this many cars is going to be the tax rate multiplied by total sales. So I can simply have an equal sign, which is how all functions and formulas start, calculate total sales for the links times, which is a little asterisk on the keyboard, which is above the number 8. So you hold on the shift and press 8. And then A10. So my tax collected for links is equals F3 times A10. I press enter and I get a value over $2 million in taxes. Now I'm going to copy this equation from one cell to another because I want my tax collected to be applied to all the other numbers below. So I use my autofill handle and I click and drag down, and when I let go I get a whole bunch of zeros. So why do I get zeros? Well, if I look at each of these equations, I notice that up in the formula bar, the cell contents for the links, or H3, was F3 times A10, and because of relative cell addressing, my equation in H4 is actually F4 times A11. So F4 is my total sales for Tiger, but A11, well, there's nothing in A11, so I get 0. So I can see that all the other cells down to H6, I have F6, which is correct, times A13, which is not correct, because there's nothing in A13. The way to fix that is to actually go to my original equation. Even though this one worked correctly, I want to make sure it's better. So I want to actually move into my formula bar, and I can click once into the formula bar, and I can edit the equation, which is just simply one way to edit the equation. And I can go move the cursor in beside the A and put a $sign before the A, and I can press a $sign in front of the 10, and I can hit enter. Now using $signs will force the spreadsheet to use what's known as absolute cell referencing or absolute cell addressing. I'm using the absolute cell address of A10, and that means when I copy this equation to another cell, the A won't change and the 10 won't change. So now that I've fixed the first equation, I can use my friendly autofill handle. I can drag down to the other cells, and magically I have the correct value in each of the cells. So now I know how much tax has been collected. My spreadsheet is done now. I have average units, I have total sales, I have the amount of tax collected, and you can see that if I change the amount of tax collected, maybe tax goes all the way down to 0.05%, then I can hit enter, and I see that my tax collected equation automatically recalculates. So of course, every time I make any change to the spreadsheet values, my equations or functions will automatically update themselves, and even if I modify this sales for January to 500, then I can see that all my values automatically update. I do have some formatting errors, and I can fix those very easily with the autofill handle. Oh, in that case, I ended up centering things, but I'll merge and center. And I want to choose this cell formatting and apply it here. And I also want to choose, I can just do this cell formatting and apply it here. And that didn't exactly do what I want. So I can use undo, which is this button in the top left-hand corner beside the save button, or also Control Z will undo it. What I want is to format these cells. this way, and then format this cell this way. And then I have to put an underline there. So I was missing an underline. Now I also have average units and tax collected, but I had this equation here in my totals row to add all these values together. So I might as well just use my autofill handle and drag all the way over. And of course, average units not in dollar values, so I simply change the formatting to number, and I reduce the number of decimal points. And now I have a completed spreadsheet. There you go. Thanks for watching. Now you can try this on your own.